Paul promoting it. It's just like
but
doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad.
I'm seeing reports online that Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Joe Rogan could hardly believe the news when reports surfaced that the highly anticipated Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis exhibition, the one Netflix was planning to stream globally, might not happen as scheduled. What was supposed to be another mega payday for both fighters and a massive entertainment event has now turned into a chaotic mess filled with legal troubles, media tension, and unanswered questions. Joe, who's followed both fighters closely, was visibly shocked that such a high-profile crossover event could crumble this fast. Just weeks ago, the hype was everywhere. Trailers, training clips, interviews flooded social media. But now, everything's falling apart. What started as a flashy, celebrity-driven boxing spectacle has turned into one of the sport's most unexpected scandals. And fans are left wondering whether the fight will ever happen.
If you know the situation, it was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight.
Fresh reports are now claiming that Gervonta Davis is facing serious new legal issues, including a civil lawsuit filed by a former partner alleging severe personal misconduct. These revelations have thrown his entire career into uncertainty and placed his exhibition bout with Jake Paul in grave jeopardy. Sources close to the situation say that new allegations surfaced at the end of October, reigniting legal concerns around Davis just as promotion for the fight hit full throttle. Multiple outlets have even hinted that an arrest might be imminent, an update that immediately sent shockwaves through both fan communities and media outlets. For promoters, this is a nightmare scenario. Millions invested in an event that could vanish overnight due to offering controversies. As legal speculation grows, fans are questioning whether Netflix and the promoters will take the risk of keeping the fight on schedule amid such intense public scrutiny.
An idiot, and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. It's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it, it
watching
bothers the
it is
fuck out
hard.
of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also the sports betting apps. They introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
Thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in any way they can.
Gervonta Davis's complicated legal history is now being dragged back into the spotlight, making things even worse. Earlier this year, he was arrested in South Florida for a misdemeanor battery-related charge, a story that made national headlines and stirred debates about accountability in boxing. Over the years, Davis's name has often appeared in legal stories that bounce between dropped charges, plea deals, and heated media coverage. That history is now haunting him again, with promoters reportedly concerned about how repeated incidents might affect sponsorships, insurance, and even broadcast approvals. For many fans, this isn't just another legal issue. It's a reminder that talent alone can't always save a fighter from self-inflicted damage. Joe Rogan himself has commented multiple times about how fighters' personal choices can derail their careers. And this seems to be one of those moments. What was meant to be a show-stopping crossover fight has turned into a case study in how quickly fame.
Seen reports online that Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Meanwhile, insider updates have started surfacing online. Sports commentator Dame Margera posted on X, formerly Twitter, "Update. I'm hearing it's being postponed. Not sure on the date, but I'm about 80% sure the November 14th event is canceled." That post alone sent the internet into a frenzy. It suggests that organizers are likely scrambling behind the scenes to reschedule the fight, possibly pushing it months ahead to cool off the controversy. What makes this situation even more complicated is that the promotion had already gone full throttle. Massive ad campaigns, celebrity interviews, and Netflix trailers that promised the biggest event of the fall. Yet despite all the noise, reports say ticket sales have been extremely weak. Many arenas reportedly failed to sell even half their capacity, raising serious doubts about whether the fight could have ever reached its financial expectations. For an event hyped as the future of entertainment boxing, it's ironic that public interest is this low. The glitz, the lights, and the big names couldn't mask the fact that this matchup didn't truly excite real fight fans.
Fire. And when his fight first got announced, I told y'all, the promo, when they start promoting it, it is going to be fire. The promo will be better than the fight, right? Because obviously, I don't like the fight. I'm not a fan of the fight. I cannot stand the decision for Tank to go in this direction, although I understand it, right? I understand it because I understand the business behind it. So I get all of that. But the promo is fire. If you go watch it, the way that is shot, the production of it looks very, very top of the line, top shelf, as you would expect from a company as big as Netflix, which is a $530 billion company. So they have the budget, they have the money to make sure their production is A1. Obviously, as a Tank Davis fan, paying attention to him in the promo, the young man looks in good spirits. He looks like he's in a good headspace, and he doesn't look like he's unhappy to be there, which bodes well for the prospects of him continuing his boxing career, I guess, not retiring. And I think that as he gets closer to the fight, as the fight happens, he'll be in his happy place. And I expect for Tank fans, for boxing fans, to get really good news after Tank Davis and Jake Paul share the ring and they do the post-fight press conference. I think that a lot of people will probably be happy with the outcome of what Tank Davis has to say after that fight. But the promo is fire. It's just a trailer. It's up on the Netflix YouTube channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. Really enjoyed watching that promo. Watched it a couple of times. And as I said, I'm paying attention to the press conferences. I'm paying attention to the build-up because I feel like there's a chance that could be more entertaining than the actual fight. Although as we get closer to the fight,
the confusion surrounding this fight has left both fans and analysts scratching their heads. Many are questioning the logic behind Jake Paul taking on Gervonta Davis in the first place. The size difference, the mismatch in fighting backgrounds, and the lack of meaningful stakes have made it hard for people to take the bout seriously. Even with millions spent on marketing, the audience response has been lukewarm at best. Online discussions have turned critical, with many calling it an unnecessary spectacle that offers nothing to either fighter's legacy. Jake Paul, once known for creating viral boxing moments, seems to have lost his touch this time. His previous fights against older MMA legends or similarly inexperienced boxers had a sense of novelty. But this one, it just feels forced. Analysts believe Jake is trying too hard to stay relevant, but without the same spark or storytelling his early fights had. And with Gervonta's legal issues overshadowing everything, this once promising crossover has quickly turned into an event nobody's truly rooting for.
Pack it up. It's over with. Because the fight makes no sense. It doesn't even make sense for Jake. For all the things Jake's talking about doing, it makes no sense for him. Again, money, sure. If it makes dollars make sense, okay, fine. But I want to see Jake in competitive matchups where I am interested in the outcome. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in the outcome of this. I was interested in Floyd versus Logan because there was an idea that Floyd was a little slower, a little older, and Logan would be able to knock him out. If Jake knocks Tank out, so what? What does that do for him? Because he said he could beat Canelo. He said he could beat Anthony Joshua. This one to me, like I've gotten on board with a lot of Jake fights because they've made sense, right? To me, they've made sense. Even Julio Cesar Chavez, after he's already beaten the guy that beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he beat Anderson Silva. Couple of years back now, this one still kind of makes sense because you're getting maybe a better version of Chavez, and he's around the same weight now. When you talk about the Tank fight, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But let's take a look at what he said to Ariel Helwani and see how he explains this fight.
Was the next one Tank? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was on the 1 yard line as well, but he has to rematch, Lamont Roach. He wants to get that back. And then we'll be back in discussions with Mr. Gervonta. But man, this is the nature of boxing. You have massive fights on the 1 yard line and things just fall through.
Again, I just don't know why. Why would this be where you go? Like the Mike Tyson thing, I could kind of understand because it's Mike and it's an exhibition and he's retired. Tank still being in the competitive nature of the sport throws this one completely off for me. And the fact that Jake is like 60 pounds bigger than he is. Right? Like Mike was obviously far older than Jake, and that was the big knock on that fight. Mike should not have been in there with Jake. Said that many times. Jake has fought so hard against people saying he's bad for the sport. He's bad for the sport. He doesn't actually want to fight or step up or do any of this stuff. And I've kind of had his back when I'm like, no, he is doing what most boxers have done early in their career. But this gives those people more ammo to be like, yeah, bro, look, this is what we're talking about. When we say he's bad for the sport or when we say that he's doing stuff that doesn't make sense and he's making a mockery of things, this is what they're talking about. And again, I wouldn't have any problem with it if Tank was way past the point where he could fight competitively at his weight class and have fights with guys like Shakur Stevens or even, again, rematching guys like Ryan Garcia.
To the confusion are the bizarre fight conditions that fans say make the entire event look like a circus act. Officially labeled an exhibition bout, it comes with strict weight caps at 195 pounds, and requires both fighters to wear 12-ounce gloves. Conditions that feel more like a celebrity sparring session than a serious athletic contest. Boxing purists have criticized the setup, saying it cheapens the sport and turns legitimate boxing into a marketing sideshow. The massive weight gap between Jake Paul, who's naturally heavier, and Gervonta Davis, who fights several weight classes below, makes it even less convincing as a real fight. Analysts claim these rules were tweaked to protect both fighters, especially Davis, from injury, but it only reinforces the idea that this matchup was more about attention than competition. The moment fans heard the word exhibition, much of the credibility evaporated. Instead of excitement, it's created doubt, a growing sense that this event was never built on passion for boxing, but rather for clicks and cash.
Versus Tank Davis press conference just went down, and the official rules for the fight have also been announced. So the fight will take place at 195 pounds, so 60 pounds higher than Tank normally fights at lightweight, and lower than what Jake has been fighting at cruiserweight and heavyweight. The fight will also be 10 rounds and 3-minute rounds each. So exhibitions are usually 2-minute rounds, but this will be 3-minute rounds like a pro fight, and 10 rounds is almost as long as a championship fight. They'll have 12-ounce gloves, so 2 ounces larger than usual, and there'll be 3 judges ringside to decide a winner. So unlike normal exhibitions where there is no winner, if this fight does go to decision, they will have scorecards to decide who wins. Now, in the press conference, Tank was asked why he's taking this fight and not the Lamont Roach rematch, and he said he's doing what's best for him and his family. The media always switch up on him after one fight, and this is what he wants to do. He also said that Jake is a decent fighter, but taller fighters struggle with shorter fighters, and he's going to frustrate Jake, and after a couple of rounds, everyone knows what's going to happen. Now, Jake, he promised to knock Tank out. He said that Tank has holes in his defense, gets frustrated, and we saw what a 135-pound Roach did to him, so he's going to knock him out. Jake also said that he still wants Canelo, even though he lost to Crawford. And he said after he gets through Tank, Canelo's going to be on his list. And then we had the face-off with a noticeable size difference, but that was the first press conference. And I'm glad there's going to be a winner, because I do think they'll try 100%.
And when it comes to Gervonta Davis himself, even his own supporters are conflicted. Many longtime fans feel disappointed that he's wasting time on what they call a YouTube sideshow, instead of defending titles against top-tier contenders in his own division. They expected him to focus on meaningful fights that would strengthen his legacy, not risky publicity stunts that bring more controversy than accomplishment. Still, Gervonta has made one thing clear. He doesn't care about outside opinions anymore. He's said in past interviews that he's tired of being told how to run his career, but the irony is that those same choices are now threatening the reputation he worked so hard to build. While Jake Paul fights to stay relevant, and Gervonta fights to prove he's untouchable, the reality is that both may have lost something far more valuable: credibility. And as Joe Rogan pointed out, the fight game always finds a way to humble you, whether inside the ring or out.
Leonard Ellerby's been after the Lamont Roach